Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 204 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I'm your host. Okay, what is that number? I had it on my phone with me. Greg sent us a message that said something fucking stupid, and I don't remember where he sent it on, so now I got to go find it. Here it is. So watch time from subscribers on YouTube is 64.9% of the watch time. There are 35.1% of you that watch this show on YouTube that are not subscribed. Just subscribe, for God's sakes. What the fuck did I ever... Don't answer that. Anyway, my name's Logan. Oh, yeah, hi.
He sent me a message. Well, he sent me a few, but the relevant one for this is, I fucking cackled editing the end of this week's FAP, meaning last week when I called him out specifically by name.
Yeah, because we figured he was gooning to us. I don't think we were wrong. And he asked me, who do you think I'm thinking about when I do that? I'm like, Darick naked swinging on something while Wrecking Ball is playing. And then he didn't answer if that was correct or not. So I'm assuming it's right. With me as always is the jump scaremer himself, Darick Tubman, aka Charmer. As we were looking to establish an underground railroad to Canada. I don't think that it was successful, but did you enjoy your time in Canada?
I did. I did have a lot of fun. It was nice to meet the folks from Invasion in person. Mm-hmm. I have done a lot with them in the past for other projects or whatever, ordered cards from them quite a few times, but it was my first time actually seeing the storefront, getting to see them. I did purchase some Flesh and Blood cards while I was there, so that's the closest to doing something Flesh and Blood this week. But in my defense, I was there. I was recording for my Riftbound content. Yeah. So like my weekend was already kind of pre-booked. However, it was fun. It was a good time.
That's good.
And I'm hoping to go back a few more times. I don't know that I would make it like a regular occurrence because I was struggling. It turns out like getting up at like 3 a.m. and then taking a drive there and, doing a really late night drive back. When I got home, it was like 4:30 in the morning. And a lot of that, again, is because I have carcolepsy and I fall asleep in cars even if I'm driving. So I did take my oldest son Stark. He was supposed to keep me awake and he fell asleep both on the way there and the way back. So there was no help whatsoever.
To jail.
So yeah, I don't know that I'll be doing it often. But I would like to get out there for some of their events sometime this next year.
Yeah, good people. Flesh and Blood. Did I do anything? No, I did not. I got drunk in a parking lot, which I guess is Flesh and Blood related in Pittsburgh if it's a pro quest on a Monday night or whatever. I guess outside of Pittsburgh, something like that. And then Sunday I had a birthday party to go to, and Green Bay played Sunday night. And then tonight I'm not watching the fourth quarter of the Spurs game, and I'm reporting this instead. And that's very, very hard for me to do. So I'm sacrificing right now. But there was Flesh and Blood played this weekend. It just wasn't by either of us. Shocking, I know. It was ProQuest Yokohama season week 4. This is starting to look like the same shit, different day. The triangle is set. Verdance had 18 wins. Syndra had 13 and Gravy had 12 and no one else above 10.
Yep.
That's the triangle. Beat
Allies
2 out of the 3.
And Wizards and Burr. Numbers go Burr. That's your meta, folks.
Be able to beat 2 out of the 3. That's what you need to do. anything else you hit, I mean, your gem roulette is real right now because of the number of heroes and the amount of interplay in all those heroes. Gem roulette is a real thing. So be able to beat 2 out of the 3. If you have game into the 3rd, fantastic. Like, I feel good playing Kasai into Syndra and Verdance at the way I have it set up right now. I could probably put some stuff back in for Gravy, but if I did that, then I know I'm giving up Kano points. And Kano has not died yet, but we still have a week to go. Like, we can still do this. We can end the nightmare. Because I think this coming weekend is the last weekend, right? I guess I have the internet.
I thought this was the last weekend.
No, I think there's one more.
Maybe
Locator.
it was just that it was my last week for locals.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking to myself I was going to miss it because of the trip, but
type Pro Quest Yokohama. Distance. I don't know what kilometers are. And so we'll say that many. We'll say this many.
If I remember right, if you're in the US and whatever you pick for kilometers, I think it auto changes it to miles afterwards, but maybe.
Yep. So there are events on November 1st. There are many events on November 1st. If I'm willing to go 1,000 kilometers away. Oh, there are some on November 8th. Interesting. So yeah, there are even some on November 8th. So apparently,
yeah, see, when I set mine specifically to ProQuest Yokohama, the only one within 100 miles of me is on November 1st, and that's the Grand Haven one.
I know I forgot because Emery had from Missouri had told me that there's one in Lebanon on the 8th, which is something I can make potentially. So I might actually go to one on the 8th. Lebanon is not close, like close.
Yeah, so the one I was just mentioning, so funny actually, because it says it's within 100 miles, but that's because I didn't put my exact address. I just put like the zip code. But it's 106 miles from my house, so.
Yeah, this would be 5 hours and 45 minutes to get all the way down there. So that would be a jaunt. So odds are I won't go, but there is one.
Yeah, I mean, for that, like you could drive and pick me up and go to this one by me.
Close. That's
probably
not that
like
far.
7 hours.
Me to you. Let's maps.google.com. Directions. Me to, I guess Lansing will do.
Yeah, I thought last time we did the math, it was like 7 hours from you to me, but
8 hours.
Oh,
it's 8. Yep. Plus tolls. But yeah, I guess it's not that much different, but the odds are I won't go to that one, but it is a possibility. So I guess we have 2 weeks left for Kano to get 28 living legend points. He's at 972. But he's at 1.5x. Like, he's pulling down 6 points, so he needs to win 5. And that's not that hard. I don't know. We might be able to get out of it and then not have to deal with Kano ever again in Classic Constructed. That seems like a good plan to me. I'm in for this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like 7 heroes who have put up a donut, an absolute 0, a nothing burger for LL points in the Super Slam season. They are the wall of shame is Bravo, Uzuri, Bolton, Teklavasan, Olympia, Lyeth, and Tough Nut. So that is your current wall of shame. That means Betsy has put up points. Huntsman has put up points. Pleiades and RKO have both put up points. Yeah, so there's the board's pretty full. There were 10 Living Legend ProQuests, which, we'll talk about that. Chain won 5 of them. Not great. Pleiades won 1. My guess, and I would love to be corrected on this, I'm going to guess the one that Pleiades won was relatively small in a what's the best way to put this? In a smaller locale is my guess. Yeah. But willing to be wrong. It could be, nope. Won it in, Orange County, California, and there are 70 people. Sure. But I don't think that's the case. Would like to be told differently. But yeah, we have the triangle. There it is. You have it. If you're attacking the format, make absolutely sure you can beat 2 out of the 3. Take the ones that you think are going to be most represented and make sure that those are the ones you're targeting the hardest. I did not register for either of the full Battle Hardens in Philadelphia, so I will not be playing Classic Constructed. I'm TBD on playing LL still because I've been waiting to find out what the actual format is, which thankfully we got today. And I'm still not sure. So I may just draft and play Cube and stuff like that. I don't know, but we'll find out. But there was a Battle Harden this weekend. It was in Baltimore. It was Living Legend. It was won by Brody Spurlock on chain. The top 8 was, and stop me if you've heard this before, 2 chains. So the proper number of chains. A Briar.
It is the proper number.
It is the proper number. 2 Starbows. A Viscerai. A Dash IO, and a Zen.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the only real surprise is the Dash.
Not really. You get all these decks that never want to block and they just get blasted by Boom Grenade, and okay. Moving on. So I'm not that surprised by Dash. I'm surprised if there weren't enough Zen in the room, because you can also null Time Zone in that deck. You can do so many things, but if there weren't that many Zen in the room, because I think that's the one that would probably hamper Dash IO the most. Can do a lot of mitigation, and then your they just don't block. So your pop-off turn is just basically free damage, and it's all coming through. So I'd be very shocked if there was a ton of Zen in this room. I guess I could go count, but I'm lazy because there's only 50 players. There was only 50 registered players. And after round 1, there were 2 in the dropped pile. So those might've been no-shows, which would have made it 48. Not the best look. Again, better than the 34 ball. But not great.
I mean, it's not great, but I know we're getting to it because I see it here in the show notes, but they're very aware, right? I think that
for sure.
The banned and restricted announcement, or banned and suspended, excuse me.
Banned and restricted. It's not banned and suspended anymore. There's no suspensions.
Yeah. I guess technically, well, they say banned. I don't know. It's really because
it's really suspended and restricted.
Yeah.
In reality.
Yeah. It should be SAR, but based on, the history of SARs, maybe that's a bad look. I don't know. That one. My point though is that, the article was, I think, very self-aware, like refreshingly so. And once again, I wouldn't expect anything less from them, but
there's Eating Crow, and there's Hat in Hand, and there's Eating Shit. And there's a little bit of all of it.
I was going to say, and that felt like all of those things.
Like I said, that's a little bit of all of it in this case. We're going to talk about that announcement because it's obvious that it's not working at this point. You could have tried to hand wave the 34. Fine. We come back with 50. I mean, we have pro quests that happened that were bigger that we know of. Yeah. And both weekends. So, and then Sorcery outdrew Fab in Baltimore, which Sorcery is a good game. Not bagging on Sorcery. I enjoy Sorcery. But that is not.
You meant the game. I'm glad I didn't go to that convention then.
You thought it was a Sorcery convention?
Yeah, I gotta brush up. Gotta get ready for Samhain, you know?
Well, sure, but who are you sacrificing?
Based on him not doing his job.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I think we know. So all of this loops back to last week where the show notes were, top 8 was and read most of the same names, one by chain, only X number of players. And the next bullet point was what now? Well, we got our what now in the form of a banned and restricted announcement a week early. So I was actually talking to friend of the show, Dom, today. And I was like, man, I really want the banned and restricted announcement today because it's obvious that something needs done. And waiting a week is taking a week of prep away from people. So just do the thing. And they did the thing.
And they did the thing.
To mixed opinion. So first off, Deadwood Dirge is back on the restricted list. Sort of an oopsie daisy. This one is the one that shows more of the cracks in the armor of where we are in the game. Because they say in the announcement,
let me pull it back.
I have it right here. A Deadwood Dirge should never have been unrestricted. We made an attempt to make Living Legend Armory Deck Visceri playable out of the box, hopefully at a bearable cost to format balance. Okay, let's pause here. That is making a decision for dollar signs and not the health of the game. I don't know
that I agree with that statement, but I will let you cook first.
You clearly say 2 sentences. Deadwood Dirge should never have been unrestricted.
Mm-hmm.
We made an attempt to make Living Legend Armory Deck Visceri playable out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully at a bearable cost to format balance. So they put the deck that they're selling as one piece and the ability to play it above making a good format. And the only reason to me you do that is when you want to sell more stuff.
Okay.
And I understand you cannot get those decks necessarily easily right now. Well, I think Spiel might be the last time.
Sure. I guess so. It's so interesting how like we can read things, and I think that it is a reflection on how much we ascribe intent to things, because the text only says that they want it playable out of the box. Yes, that is something that they sell. Full stop. But to me, I read that as we wanted one of our entry-level products to work as an entry-level gateway to this format, which, yes, they sell it, but also we just talked about player counts being low. And so if you're trying to get more people to play in your format, you got to make it accessible. So like, yes, it is a balanced decision that was made. But to me, and again, it's so weird how we ascribe intent. I don't think the intent was money. I think the intent was accessibility. And now it's hard to separate the two because they go hand in hand.
Right.
But you can't have one without the other. And we all know accessibility is good for the game. And if you have a low player count, so that's the other thing, right? Like if you have a low player count, clearly you're probably not selling a ton of them anyway. So I don't think this was like a big dollars and cents move.
No, I don't think
they're probably not, like flying off the shelves one way or the other.
They sold really well.
Well, I mean, they sold really well, but you get my point. Like, so it's just interesting because, it's the same two sentences, but we both took two different things. I took this as, because we saw the same thing with Aurora, right? Like, and this is the real shitty thing, is because now they're kind of like 0 for 2 in ways. Granted, there is the Prism deck and whatever, but they're kind of 0 for 2 on their like, we're going to make this premier product to help get new people into the game. And then one LL's speed runs that gets just demolished because of a misprint. And then the other one, they're like, okay, we're going to attempt to make this accessible, and we're going to make a call. And I get it. Part of the reason is, again, you could argue that it's to sell things, but also like Deadwood Dirge isn't the reason that people are buying that product, right? So like whether that's legal and this is why to me it screamed accessibility, right? Deadwood Dirge isn't the expensive thing. It would be one thing if you were selling an armory deck and you were trying to make either the exclusive piece or some included legendary or whatever be the thing that's legal. But the fact that they wanted it legal out of the box, and the push point was something that is easily replaceable and is not expensive, again, to me, that leans more on the accessibility side, because they want someone to show up and have an option they can purchase and play with. And I think this is ascribing intent, and I'm aware that now I'm doing it, but I bet if I had to guess, knowing, Brian a little bit, that the train of thought was, if it's like the new player friendly thing that's a little overtuned, then it's only a problem if the top level players abuse it, because you kind of want, and again, we saw it with the Aurora thing. You do, as weird as it sounds, kind of want your new player friendly thing to be a little overtuned, or at least a little, flashy, because you want them to have fun, right? Like you want them to step in and feel powerful. You don't want them to step in and play Betsy. So like, I get this from an accessibility standpoint. So anyway, that's my soapbox.
In the interest of not picking and choosing, because I hate when that happens, the full text of the rest of the Dirge piece of this is, it is clear now that the cost of Deadwood Dirge is not at all bearable. Chain is facing down 3 copies of Warmonger's Diplomacy without batting an eye. And Viserai is too good at powering up his Bloodsheath Skeleton. Dirge has to head back to the restricted list. So it's also pretty clear that they thought that Warmongers was, increased to 3 copies was going to be enough of a check. Yeah. And it does appear, because they go and they do discuss that a lot of this was rushed. Unfortunately, our improper scheduling of the first true season of Living Legend events has left us scrambling to deal with their outcomes. We tried desperately to find small but meaningful adjustments as early as possible in order to provide as much preparation time as possible. However, the format remains unbalanced, with Runeblade simply being better than all other options. Blade just fucking described Flesh and Blood. So
you mean Flesh and Runeblade?
Flesh and Runeblade. We've been making that joke for 4 years. So, yeah.
Really since Monarch.
Yeah, 4 years. Like, it's been 4.5 years on Monarch. And so that was turn 1, part 1 of this.
That was turn 1. I'm going to start describing every paragraph in articles as turns, right? Like that was turn 1.
We're on turn 2.
We arsenaled for that one. Let's run it back.
And I do appreciate the honesty. And I think we both agree that unrestricting a card that we know can warp for the purpose of making a product out of box playable is not a good look, regardless.
Yeah. Again, anytime that you do something where you know that it could potentially warp things in a rushed fashion, like, to me, that's the thing. Yeah. I think in a perfect world, I would rather them have said, like, this is something we want to do and do internal testing. But then, the second half where they admit this was rushed and that they wanted it to be a part of Worlds. Again, I appreciate the honesty. And so I get why they do it. It's definitely not a great look. I just was more so just trying to refute that I felt like it was done as an accessibility thing as opposed to like a profit thing. But
no, and I understand. And benefit of the doubt to LSS is our default here. Big trust, right? And I do appreciate the level of transparency here to aid in accountability, if nothing else. And I know a lot of people are doing the reactionary horse shit where they're not really
the Victor shit.
Well, yeah, they're not. They're not reading what was written in general, and instead they're just kind of saying, "Oh, they're just fucking up a bunch of." They say that they eat the crow, they prepare the plate of shit, like they're doing the thing,
yeah,
and they're gonna wear this one.
I do think that. Again, we've had a big influx of newer players the past couple of years, really. So it's kind of been slowly growing for a long time. But I also feel like community sentiment has been more reactionary and a little bit more negative as of late. And I've been like, there's a lot of times
some of that is
eyes.
Due to the influx of players.
I've been rolling my eyes, but I feel like I've been doing my best to try to provide grace to these strangers on the internet because they are coming from Magic, and Magic has absolutely been squeezing everything for profit with no remorse.
Oh yeah.
But even on the design side, right? Like I love Morrow and I respect him and whatever, but let's be honest, like admitting when he's wrong has not been a strong suit as of late, right?
Or period.
So, yeah, but it feels like it's been getting worse. I'll put it that way. So the idea that like when things are going wrong, I do think we have a number of players that are just kind of accustomed to people sweeping it under the rug or being dismissive. And like historically, LSS has not been that way. Right, so I just feel like they don't have enough of a history to trust it. Even if they see this one article, they'd be like, okay, they did it this one time, but it's only because it was so egregious they won't do that again. And it'll take a few times for them to settle into the new norm, if that makes sense.
No, I get it. I'm yes. And I can't remember. And again, trying to think back 20 plus years is hard when you're old. But I don't remember any times that Magic really approached the level of transparency that is the baseline with LSS. Like, I'm trying to stretch, and it's really hard.
I think it would have to go back to when, like, Garfield was still involved in doing interviews for Scry magazine. If that's
sure, that's 90s, right?
Right. Like I know that you're saying like last 20 years, but I'm like, no, it was longer. But if you remember that, like that's the last time I remember the same levels of transparency.
Right. So you kind of need to get used to a group that is willing to admit when they're wrong and then take steps to correct when something is wrong. But they admit to being in scramble mode. Okay. That's obvious. And we appreciate you admitting you could have blown smoke up our ass and said, we did a ton of eternal testing and blah, blah, blah. And the players are just not on it. That ain't what you said.
I mean, they could have still been dismissive without even lying. They could have just simply said things that were still true in a vacuum. They could say, hey, we've heard the feedback and we understand we had a vision for this year's Living Legend format and Worlds. The current state of the game is reflective of that. We will revisit it after Worlds, right? Like they could have, which is still technically all true. Mm-hmm. But again, they're just not built that way. They're going to be like, yeah, okay, we rushed this. We thought this would be okay. It's not. We're changing now to give you time. And we're going to do a full like review in the new year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess that Living Legend's gonna get one hell of an autopsy if they kill it.
I think it's gonna get the Silver Age treatment.
It could.
Personally. What I expect next year is the early half of the year to focus a lot on Classic Constructed and Silver Age, and they're going to be brewing Living Legend like 2.0 in the background, and then come back with it for the second half of the year. That's what I expect.
You know that I've been screaming from the mountaintops that we just need a format in between. We need extended.
Yeah.
And that will help a lot.
I would love to see them have Living Legend, like, again, as a format proper, and then change what they originally intended Living Legend, where you can do the powerful things and whatever. Just call that No Holds Barred.
Yeah, just be effectively the vintage, not the modern or legacy.
No Holds Barred. Have at it.
Yeah, fuck it. Like, just ball as hard as you want. The next piece is something that is kind of a holy fuck they did it moment for me. Rosetta Thorn is banned. Now, a couple of things. Before I ever started this show, I said that Rosetta Thorn's biggest, most egregious mistake is it not being talented. Because if it was talented, it's not that big of a deal. It's just Briar. Instead, it's all of them. And now I'm just really glad I never bought the Marvel. Apologies to Ellie Bird, who did buy the Marvel. And
hey, here in like 2 weeks, it'll probably be a great time to buy the Marvel.
Yeah, it would be a pretty good price. It would just sit next to the Marvel Briar in my binder. Now, some people do believe that this is not enough of a step. That's probably the best way to put it. Because they can just Dustblade and go. Dustblade does die to Warmongers.
Yeah, Warmongers is a lot. And again, they talked about, hey, we thought Warmongers would be more effective. So what are they doing? They're addressing the two things that hurt Warmongers the most, in my opinion. And I think another big thing that's not being talked about enough, at least in the discourse I've seen thus far, is the fact that when you're game planning against a Runeblade, you no longer have as nearly an excruciating decision about AB1 versus AB2.
Oh yeah, it's just all AB1 now.
Right? But that's
unless it's Florian and you might consider AB2. Maybe,
right? But that should be a much bigger deal than I think people are making it, because that stuff matters when you're at sub 5 health or whatever, and you start doing the math.
Yeah, it's how many Thorns can I take? 3. Well, shit. We need to ratchet it up. So I feel like taking Thorns a big deal. It does do some unintended things, especially to Briar. Because the pattern of non-attack into attack into Thorn isn't a thing anymore. So the balance in the numbers can change, and that's okay. You're not making Thorn worse. You don't have to really worry about that. Because rather than making Thorn worse, the reasons to do it is to make Dustblade good. But Dustblade is not out of the gates a fucking 1-for-4. Christ.
Yeah.
And split damage at that. So I feel like Thorn being banned feels right. And then
it only feels weird because I'll be honest as well. If Thorn was not a token weapon, I think people would have been calling for it a long time ago.
Oh, sure.
I know this is really weird.
No,
but
I get it.
There's this mental thing it does to you where you're it's literally a token weapon. What's the how bad can it be?
How bad can it be?
It is the closest thing I think we'll ever get to like a skull clamp scenario where it's like, really, the uncommon equipment, like how bad can it be?
Let me describe that for you. Because but the thing that people lose because they don't have the context of the time, and why we didn't really think that, is because the majestic weapon for rune blades in that set was fucking Duskblade,
It never saw play.
Never legal in Classic Constructed ever. Not once was a game played with Duskblade legal in a sanctioned Classic Constructed match. So we looked at that thing, which would have made chain ungodly broken at the time, and went, oh, okay, well, we have this other thing that's pretty good. And by pretty good, I mean top 3 weapon in the game, probably top 2. Okay. And you have to remember that the only reason to not try to make perfect advantage of Rosetta Thorn in Tales of Aria Limited, if you were in position to do so, was if you opened a Winter's Wail. That was the reason. Because Winter's Wail is a motherfucker.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And
but this one was even harder than the Winter's Wail, because back then you could play legendaries if you opened them. If you opened the Heart of Ice, because there was no source of AB
right
anywhere else, that was also a consideration. But
right, well, I mean, or you open a New Horizons and suddenly playing Shiver is much better,
right?
Or if you had Voltaire, what the fuck ever. But I think it will be interesting. I still think it's a Runeblade format, but I think it's less of one. My concern now is Zen had nothing done to it. It's just ready to go. Now, I believe that, thankfully, and I'm going to double check this here because I don't want to be an idiot. I believe that you can't play full copies of Bonds, right?
Thought it was just red.
I think it's just red. Bonds of Ancestry is 1 copy, period.
Oh,
yeah. So you can just 1 copy.
Is that 1 copy of each color then?
No, it's 1 copy.
1 copy. Okay.
And so you now, like, we're just gonna put this out. Your banned list is now Carrion Husk. Yep. Crown of Seeds. Yep. Kraken's Aether Vein.
Extra. Yup.
Sorry, Summer.
Mustard.
Yeah. Rosetta Thorn. Sure. And Zephyr Needle. We saw why. And then your restricted cards are Awakening. Yeah, whatever. Bonds of Ancestry. Makes sense. Electromagnetic Somersault, because it's just more Oakenolds. Count Your Blessings, which is still the funniest restriction of a card in the history of time. Crippling Crush. I'm still not sure that one belongs.
Yeah, it probably does.
Cull, because fuck you, Chain. Deadwood Dirge, because fuck you, Chain. And Viscerai, really. Oakenold, because if you've not been Oakenold looped before, it's not pleasant. I've done it to people. I felt bad. Open the Floodgates, because wizards don't need card draw. And Succumb to Temptation. I still have trouble with that one, especially now. But I get it.
I mean, Runeblade.
I know. But without Dirge and without Thorn, I have a harder time with that one. But
Runeblade.
I get it.
Honestly, at this point, what they need to do is they just need to say, like, listen, it's Living Legend, except Runeblades have to play Highlander.
probably not that far off. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But you can play one of each color of stuff. You just can't play.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's still a very small ban list. So there's that. But you compare that to like your ban list for Silver Age, or even right now Classic Constructed, and I still feel like if a card is banned in Classic Constructed, it should be restricted in LL, just straight out the gate. Which would make Art of War, Ball Lightning, Belittle, Berserk, Bonds of Agony, Cash In. Hold on. Is that right? Going back to the Living Legend ban list. Drone of Brutality is not banned. Okay. But that'd be restricted now. What else is on here? Drone, Golden Tipples, Red and Yellows, High Octane, Plunder Run. Okay, maybe not. All the books. Yeah, some of these are just fine in Living Legend, honestly. Forget I said that. In our in-between format, they would be restricted. But I digress. I think it's good that they came out and sort of talked about the thing. And they're losing Thorn does weaken Runeblade, and they do talk about that in the article as well. Go read the article as per always. But and especially because Duskblade exists, it's not the biggest hit, but maybe it's enough of one, along with losing Dirge again and Warmongers being back, that it's not just Flesh and Runeblade. But we'll see. Philly's not too far away, and I think our good friend Clark posted in the Discord that like since in 22 days there's been like 12 new signups for the Living Legend calling, which let's see how much that kind of spins back up now with the changes, if at all. I did not plan on being in for a long one tonight, so we might just hop onto some listener questions. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can. I didn't know if you just wanted. We covered it a little bit during the course of the conversation. Sorry, my brain's going faster than my mouth, and I didn't know if we wanted to touch a little bit more on the fact that they said specifically that they were going to kind of like be revisiting things next year.
Let's do that. I think that's a good thing to do. So I think that Living Legend is a format that is supposed to be a love letter to the history of the game. And it is such, it's very popular with probably internally at LSS. And but the other end of this is it's a competitive game. And the thing that's the most popular in-house may not translate well to a competitive game. I think that that's part of what they're going to look at. And it may come down that there needs to be something in between. There needs to be this Living Legend format, which is heavily curated. Because the original intent going way back to Keynote, New Jersey, maybe Baltimore. Way back in then. The intent of Living Legend was anything goes. It was whatever you want. The only ban lists were special use promos. You could play anything. And then the first Living Legend tournament was 8 Starvos in the top 8. But I I think that there's still a format to be saved in there. I really do. And they need meaningful events and aggressive adjustments to get it where it needs to go. And then the other thing that they have to try to do is test for whatever that is when you're printing cards. Like, you can't just test for limited CC if you want this other format to still be good. Otherwise, the bannings have to be quicker to adjust for what gets found.
Yeah. I do wonder if that is a bit of, so part of the reason that I kind of wanted to revisit this is there was a line in turn one, if you will.
Turn one.
That really resonated with me because I think it's beyond just Living Legend, right? Specifically, they said, we have made the, where is it? The run-up to Living Legends' first appearance at Worlds has not been particularly well executed. I'll take this opportunity to apologize to our players and assure you that we are already in the midst of adjusting our processes to avoid similar situations in the future.
Right.
And that, to me, doesn't, because they said specifically processes, that doesn't speak to like just Living Legend. That's probably them reevaluating
everything,
how they roll out things in general for formats, for changes, for whatever. And, you know, much to your point, testing potentially. I think that it's very, again, refreshing to hear that is at least on their plate. And it would not surprise me if they all go on holiday during the holiday season. They get some good rest and relaxation, and then they come back and just have like dev jam sessions and whatever to kick off the year.
Like a poetry slam?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, or you're in IT like me, right? You get into a room and you throw everything on the whiteboard and
you start going.
Yep.
Start moving shit around. See how it looks. And most of it gets torn down.
Most of it.
Yep.
And then you take like 2 photos of the relevant parts of the whiteboard because you're afraid somebody will erase it. And
correct. That's why you use tools like Miro and Trello and things like that to make sure that you have the thing. Because you can export the boards.
That? Well, my bad.
It's it's better for collaboration cross continents. Yeah, I think that they could be looking at the way they do everything, but let's not get too far over our skis. This is still a successful game. They've done incredibly well. They've had to retool their processes on the fly a number of times because they've been more successful than they probably projected. So, yeah, they probably, the more retooling in what they're thinking through, the better. And being honest to the core of the game is probably the most important thing they can do for players. But the behind the scenes, the under the hood, whatever fucking euphemism you want to use for it, part of it always needs adjusted and needs constant evolution. And I think they recognize that, much to what you said, in that sentence alone. It's recognizing that, yeah, we don't want this to keep happening and we'll change to make sure that it doesn't. And that is refreshing. Because when does a game do that? Now we can get to listener questions, right?
Now we can.
Okay. First one's from Varick T. I have been catching up on old episodes and I have a question. Has Abby ever gotten her possum? No.
Unfortunately, no. But I do very regularly send her possum
related content.
TikToks, yeah.
Yeah, yep, that makes sense. Every now and again, because there's like a possum a day fucking Twitter page. Every couple of times a year still, she'll tag me on a fucking possum picture. I kind of hate possums. Next one's from Salty Sea Cat Dog. I've got my wife to start playing Fab, and she's been asking how much everything costs. How transparent are you guys with your partner and how much you spend on hobbies? Very. Like,
yeah. As transparent as I am about literally anything else.
Right.
Like, if she asks me, I'm going to tell her.
You're right. It's right there. I mean, if it's like how much you spend on that, I would say what I spent on it. Okay. And that's really about it. Like this giant size X-Men #1 right here. She knows how much I paid for it. She knows how much I paid for this, Lego mansion.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. More often than not, anything that's actually expensive that I buy is because my wife told me to buy it, because I'm not the kind of person that buys a lot of expensive stuff for myself. So every time I've replaced a PC, every time I got broadcast equipment, right? Like the Steam Deck that I have here on my desk or whatever, like the last time we replaced a TV, it's almost always like I say something like, oh, that'd be nice or whatever. And then she has to talk me into it. So,
yeah, not quite the same here, but it's usually I will just present the rationale. As to why I think this is a good idea, and if there is any sort of disagreement on whether or not it's a good idea, we talk about it. But the hobbies, it's like, she knows this shit's not free. Like, and also if it's like, oh, how much does that cost? I would just tell her how much it costs. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Next one's from Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon. Who's your first build for Silver Age? Mine are Briar and Rhinar. That's where I started. Briar, big or number go burr. Rhinar, block. That's really it.
I mean, those are both solid. I mean, my first was Solitary, but
sure. Double Trouble is a hell of a card in Silver Age, it turns out.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of, specifically like for him, there's a lot of pseudo 0 for 4s, right? Like Prowl is also really good. Yeah, he's just still all right.
Yeah, makes sense. Next one is from Johnny Pastrami. This one might take a while. What is the best type of bread? Okay. So we need to level set.
Okay. I think this is a really easy answer, but apparently you've done the science.
The answer, if you're just like taking this at face value, is probably either garlic bread or garlic naan.
Nope.
You're allowed to be wrong. But when you when you start accepting that other things are bread, like cake and beer and all these other things, it expands the definition enough that you kind of have to start compartmentalizing. But I am going to go ahead and say that I think asking the best type of bread is foolhardy. And because bread is undefeated, just generally speaking. Like, carbs are delicious. And bread is the king of the carbohydrate. So I would ask, what is your favorite type of bread that is not liquid based? I think that that's a better reframe. But what's your argument for best type of bread?
It's very, very simple. You can write this down if you want. I'll give you a moment to get a pen if you're listening. It's whatever one is currently in your mouth.
That's a good answer, honestly. It's a real good answer. It's kind of hard to not have some good fucking bread.
Right.
I mean, pumpernickel rye.
Now, maybe it's because I grew up poor, so I've learned to appreciate even the breads that aren't bread.
Wonder bread, which is not bread. It's
not bread.
Pastry. But no, I get it. And but like, if it's, one of those of you have a bank of buttons in front of you, and you're going to, whichever one you push is going to give you a hot piece of whatever that bread is. It's all the options. Which one are you pressing?
Oh.
I think for me, it is garlic naan.
Garlic naan is outstanding. I mean, it really is, especially with like some paneer or something.
Oh man. Or just like even some like, leftover sauce from like a curry.
Yeah.
I need to dredge that shit up.
Like that's a solid choice, but I think for me, it would be a Hawaiian sweet roll.
Man, that's really good too. I would also accept Southern fried biscuit.
Yeah, Hawaiian sweet roll is there.
Man, I love Hawaiian sweet roll.
And then my second would probably be like an actual croissant. So
like
basically
fresh croissant.
Like not what you can buy in the United States.
Right. I mean, you can. You just have to find you have to find a specialty bakery.
It doesn't matter. They're still going to get like our local ingredients, right? Like
some do import.
Yeah, but it's still then you're worried about like shipping and or whatever. There's just nothing. You give me any European port city,
you'll get a better croissant. Yeah.
You'll get a better croissant.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. But like a good slice of garlic bread where the bottom has that toast feeling to, like that toasted like texture to it, and then it's crusty. It's got some snap.
Yeah.
Kind of love that.
You know what else is also really high on my list? Personally, is a good soft pretzel.
When the soft pretzel is done well, I'd fuck with a soft pretzel for sure. Yeah. Like, and why is it that like the malls kind of have them figured out the best?
I mean here, I don't know why, but
because like I would take an Auntie Anne's pretzel over like a ball game soft pretzel.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. It's probably because I put crack cocaine in it.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
When I think of like a good soft pretzel again, I think of like you're at a European bar, and if you order their pretzels, like, oh my god.
Or like even like a Wisconsin pub, and they're like, we have soft pretzels and beer cheese, and it's like
I was gonna say any like Midwestern brewery is gonna have also outstanding pretzels.
Yeah. That's baked into the DNA.
Yeah.
Pun intended. Yeah, bread's undefeated. Fuck, bread is good. I want some bread now. Shit. Oh, I mean, nah. Catmandu is closed. I can't just waltz in for some naan. All right, moving on. Next one's from Gaber Goblin. Merchant Hero, our merch guy, is now in the Discord, so anytime that you need to ping him and request something, please keep it civil, you fucks, and actually stuff that you mean that you actually want. What card or cards would you want to lower rarity so they are in Silver Age? Mine is Crazy Brew. I do love Crazy Brew. I think mine's obvious, but Darick, what's yours?
Bonds of Agony.
Yeah, I figured that was yours.
No, yes, but honestly, this is gonna sound weird, like, because I think that it would also be fine in Silver Age personally.
Hunter's Clave?
No, Infiltrate.
Oh, sure. I think that's fine.
I think that is a card that is at the Majestic rarity more so because it creates interesting rules interactions, and so sometimes from a design standpoint you put your more complicated stuff at higher rarities.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be fine in Silver Age, and I just always enjoy playing the card because it lets you do wacky stuff.
No, it makes sense. Mine is Blood on Her Hands for reasons.
Yeah, that's your Bonds answer.
That is definitely is my Bonds answer. Outside of that one, it's honestly Last Ditch Effort. Like, give me LDE. And
yeah, I could see that.
We'll fuck around and make some decks that like punish some of like the hyper aggro decks coming out. And you just smack them twice with Last Ditch Effort to end it. Sure. I think those are fine. Last one's from El Dorte. Charmer. Now that you had your first taste of the beauty that is Lucerne, did it convince Sophie? And when do you guys move?
Did convince her. She thought it was beautiful. For those who are listening and don't know, because I messaged El Dorte. So my wife and I, when we are relaxing or like reading a book or whatever, we usually, in the past, we would just put on like nature stuff to let the cats watch the TV, and it gives us like a peaceful background. But for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, we've been putting on like 4K walking tours. So you just go to YouTube and you can just put in like walking around Lucerne, for example. And it's just a video of like walking around the neighborhood. And we have been doing it more so to just get some inspiration for travel. Again, it's still like a nice, peaceful background thing when you're doing other stuff or reading or whatever. But we had Lucerne on the other day. So I messaged him and I was like, hey, like, this is on. Blah blah blah, and he asked me to send him the video because he wanted to see if he could see his house in it, like that sort of thing.
It's like only like 100 meters away. Like,
yeah,
what's close?
But yeah, she loved it. Thought it was beautiful. Obviously, like her biggest concern would be cost of living stuff, but it got her interest enough that she has sent me a handful of TikToks about like, here's what you need to know about moving to Switzerland. So I will say it has at least piqued her interest.
Man, if TikTok could tell me how to move to Switzerland, I might actually get TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, it does. There are educational things on there.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
It's weird. Like, if you curate your algorithm, then it gets significantly better.
Well, what do you know?
Or worse, depending on your point of view.
It really
does
depend on your point of view.
What I send to Greg, because I sent him some of the most unhinged shit.
I think that Greg is under the impression that you make his life better, so I think you're good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying he's under the impression. But yeah, let's thank some patrons, get out of here. We have our associate producers. We have Andy, the permanent associate producer, Sindra, Anthony, Ejor, Jacob, Aladoris, Octothoptorpus. I think I did it right that time. Sofsky, Heiner, and Sleep Coma for our executive producers on up. We have Blaze Storm, as I said, valued member of the Patreon, Diana the Green Cosplayer, John the Delusion Data Analyst, and then for Chargers Chamber of Charcoal, we have Vintox, the Eschatological Equestrian. I think he's next week, actually, on the show. Matt, who I'll be rooming with in Philadelphia. The Jackal, Papa Jackal, the Sleepless. Please check out, I believe it's Battle Axe is what he's calling his streaming channel. He started doing a little bit of stuff, so make sure you're checking him out as well. Brandon Zaris, El Dorte himself, the Hammer. And then our ceiling fan, the top of the tier, the cream of the crop, Polish guy Rich. Thank you ever so much, everybody that supports this show. If you would like to become a patron of Flesh and Pod, you go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. May pick a fucking tier. I don't really care. We do have an After Dark coming because I need to learn how to use OBS. And I believe that we had scheduled that for this Thursday. I will make sure I send that out to the masses. If you need to contact the show, you can send us an email, fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on BlueSky. There's Flesh and Pod. But the best thing to do is just join our Discord. Links in the show notes. Click it, join it, do the thing, and subscribe if you haven't to this fucking YouTube channel. Like, what are you doing? Darick, where can they find you?
In the Discord is the best place to find me. I'm on BlueSky. I post there periodically, but if you're trying to find me for Flesh and Blood related stuff, it's in the Discord. If you're not trying to find me for Flesh and Blood related stuff, the check is in the mail.
Or go navigate to charmer.com for all your business needs. If for any complaints, please ping Charmer on the Discord at I'm Jorman. I am JORMAN.
Yep. Or you could look out your window. I do send smoke signals.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, it's really weird. I saw in the news they were like, "Oh, Canadian wildfires," and it was just me in my backyard. But
yeah, well, it's good to have trees. That's our show for this week. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and watching or listening or whatever you did with us. And we'll be back for 205 next week. My God. Thanks, everybody. Bye.